Today I'm grading your Dynasty trades, and as always, like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below what trades you have made this week in your leagues. And if you want your grades traded every single week on this show, all you have to do is sign up at flogfantasy.com/land and use our promo code LAND. Get 30% off at sign up. What you do is you get a special link to the Discord and have access to it to submit all of your Dynasty trades, and you will be featured on a weekly show, as you can see here today. So once again, flogfantasy.com/land. The best way to support what we are doing here, not only do you get the access to the Dynasty Trade Show, but our rankings, our articles, and the fantasy hotline, and so much more. So let's get straight into the trades. And first trade here, who is it by? Kyle. Shout out to Kyle, one of our follower leagues here. And this is one of our trades that we made. Makes sense. So this is a trade I am featured in, as you can see, Badaki, and you can see the little emblem there. It looks like a dog taking a shit, because this team is absolute dog shit. I am a complete rebuild, so essentially what I did is I sent Jamar Chase away, and I got 3 firsts. I'm really hoping that these firsts, you know, are going to be top of the half, maybe even top 8 in our 2025 draft or in 2024 drafts. I would show you my team in this league, but for time's sake, just know that it's terribly bad. Let me know what you guys think. If you're in the Golf League, comment down below. Let me know if I won or lost that trade. It's all love either way. Lazy Bones. So if y'all remember, my bro, Risk It for a Biscuit, had our teams for a home league in the same Dynasty team grade stream about a month ago. The league is a 12-team PPR, 1 quarterback start 8. I traded away Madison for the 24 second back. Okay. On 423, I decided to pay up with my 24 to get Madison back on the squad for the win now push roast me. Okay, so you essentially trade back. You essentially get Alexander Madison back. You also receive Elijah Moore. You send Okonkwo in that 24 first. Look, you guys already know how I feel about Alexander Madison. I'm not a huge advocate for Alexander, but, you know, with all the reports saying of how he is going to be this #1 RB, with all the interviews that he already knew that he was going to be a starting running back even before Dalvin was going to be cut. All these comments, all these conversations is really interesting, without a doubt. So I do like this trade, and clearly why I like this trade, because Chig Okonkwo's value does drop significantly now with DeAndre Hopkins here for the next 2 years. And also, you get Elijah Moore in this trade. And if he does pan out to be a top 15, top 20 wide receiver, as I am expecting, then an Alexander Madison is truly, really, let's just say, a top 12, top 15 running back finish. That will be an equivalent value here. And you have to hope, and I wonder where this 24 first is going to be. And this is your 24 first, and you are a win now team. So if you are going to be a win now team, hopefully you're going to be in the second half of the draft, or of the draft here, meaning that maybe it's the 107 and later in the 2024 class. So I don't mind this trade. Once again, not a huge advocate for Alexander Madison, but I understand since you are a win now team. What's happening? See, it says 12 team Superflex PPR start 10. Someone wants Anthony Richardson. I only have Field, I'm assuming, as other value quarterbacks. I have Minshew to back up AR. Is enough for an improvement at running back and wide receiver to warrant the risk drop of AR to Tua. Running backs are Hall and Carter, Jacobs, Waller, Amon-Ra, London, Dotson, Jason, Quinton, Rondell, and Dubs. Okay, so you're wondering if you should even do this trade. Not necessarily sure. Okay, so essentially you're sending away Anthony Richardson, Kenneth Walker, and Rondell Moore, and you are receiving 2 attacks, Saquon Barkley and Calvin Ridley. Oh man, this is a tough one. It really, I would say this is the biggest kicker. It really depends on how you value 2 attacks. I personally believe that he is worth the risk, especially with the pieces that you're getting back here. Saquon Barkley and Calvin Ridley. I know there's conversation of Saquon's holding out this year, and what does that look like? But even if he hypothetically he does hold out for a couple games, I still believe he can be a top 10 running back. Kenneth Walker, on the other hand, I just don't know what to think now with Zach Charbonnet, which is really, really difficult. And really, you can't really see his upside and what that truly is anymore. Saquon, I think we can easily say he's a top 5, top 8 running back. With Kenneth Walker was a top 5, top 8 running back upside without Zach Charbonnet. Now I'm 100% taking Calvin Ridley over Rondale Moore. So now the biggest question is, do you believe in Tua? I've been a massive advocate saying that he can have a massive breakout year this year. If he didn't have these concussions, if he didn't really go through the struggle this past year, he would have finished as a top 5, top 8 quarterback, right? Now, Anthony Richardson, tremendous athlete, but is that going to happen this year, or are we waiting for the Justin Fields-esque type of pathway here? And I'm assuming that's kind of what you're asking. Someone wants AR, you only Fields as other valid quarterbacks. I'm a bit confused of what that actually means. I'm assuming your only other quarterback is Justin Fields. So if you have Justin Fields and Tua, that's great. If you have Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson, that's great as well. 2 upside running backs, or quarterbacks, excuse me, that you're going to have. I think for me, Anthony Richardson technically is valued significantly higher than this. I mean, we've seen Anthony Richardson go for 2 first, go for sometimes 3 first. Just depends on how you value Tua. If I were to do this, I actually would hold Anthony Richardson. If you've already done this, that's okay, because it's not too terrible of a trade. I just think that you could have gotten even more by sending Anthony Richardson here. But hey, let me know if that's a little bit confusing, or if I even understood your context correctly. Just let me know. All right, I'm assuming this is Sam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Sam. 10 team Superflex, half PPR, start 12, 3 running backs. I'm receiving Javonte Williams, P. Ryan Watson, and 24 first. I now have Christian Watson, Drake London, George Pickens, Brandon Cooks as my top wide receivers, and my top running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders. Okay. The owner I received the first one has the 101, the 102, and 2 rookie drafts. In our 2 rookie drafts, I have both top 2 picks in this year's draft, but I'm thinking this team will be a whole lot better this year. I've been a middle of the pack team and still have my 24 first. Also, the owner gets Charbonnet, already has Walker. Lastly, I have Mahomes, Kelsey stack in case you need to know that. Okay, so Sam, you receive Samaje P. Ryan, Javonte Williams, Christian Watson, and a 24 first. You send away Herbert, Jameson Williams, Zach Charbonnet, and a 24 second. And you kind of alluded to that 24 first. The owner I received the first one has the 101, 102. So where is this? Okay, I've been in middle of the pack team. So I'm wondering where this first is going to be. If this is once again, I may be really slow at reading these contexts today, but the 24 first, if this is a top half first, I'm okay with this. Christian Watson, Javonte Williams, you do get the backup in Samaje P. Ryan and hypothetically a top 6 24 first. I'm okay with that. Now, if you get a second half 24 first, I'm actually still okay with that, because Zach Charbonnet kind of is valued there. So I think this is the even trade. I don't love receiving Javonte Williams here, but I mean, your running backs you kind of did allude to are Jonathan Taylor, Rashad White as well, with Miles Sanders. So I'm okay with the trade getting that 24 first, and that's a 3 running back start. So that's an okay trade for me. 7 Goats, how we doing, brother? 12 team, full PPR, 2 quarterback start 11. The second is projected early top 3. My wide receivers are JJ, Godwin, Deontay, Terry Burks, J-Mo. So you get Christian Watson, a 24 second, and T. Higgins. I think this is an even trade. I don't mind this. Christian Watson, even though I have T higher than Christian Watson, it's not by much, and you get that 24 first. So I'm really okay with this trade. Good trade, good trade. The iCamp Hard, how you doing, brother? Okay, so this trade, no context here, but I'm assuming you get Joe Burrow. Yeah, you do get Joe Burrow and a 24 third, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Richardson, and a 25 first. I think you send this trade, and I remember you asking about this, and I wasn't too happy about it, to be completely honest. This is just way too much for Joe Burrow. You're essentially sending 3. You're sending Deshaun Watson, who has been a top 5 quarterback outside of his rookie in this past year, Anthony Richardson, taking in a top 4 pick in the NFL draft, who has significant rushing upside, and a 25 first. your 25 first, depending on what this team is going to look like and what your team truly looks like. I think this is a significant overpay for Joe Burrow, and maybe I may be wrong in my eyes, but I will be too much. I would have done Deshaun Watson in the first for Joe Burrow, but throwing Anthony Richardson on top of that is significant because Deshaun Watson does come back to his form, and I truly believe we're going to be talking about Deshaun Watson as a top 5 to 7 quarterback coming into next year, and we're going to have really struggles to even take, or do we take Lamar Jackson? Do we take Justin Herbert? Do we take Trevor Lawrence? Or do we take Deshaun Watson? That's going to be the conversation next year. And Anthony Richardson, I think we're probably going to be taking around probably where Trey Lance was going in his second year, maybe end of the first, right? Maybe at that turn, some people were taking him a little bit earlier than that. So, look, I'm not in love with this trade. I think it's a bit of an overpay. You guys let me know what you think down below if you would do this trade to acquire Joe Burrow. But I guess I just see a lot of value in Deshaun Watson coming into this year and Anthony Richardson for sure. So let's see what's happening. See with another trade, 10-team Superflex wide receivers are now Waddle, London, Burks, JSN. Curious on thoughts. Is this an overpay on my part? Okay, so you received Jackson Smith and Jigba, George Pickens, Jamo Williams, and a 24 third. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. I don't necessarily think it's an overpay with your team. Waddle, London, Burks, now Jackson Smith and Jigba. I love Jackson Smith. I know I've always been this advocate for Quentin Johnston, but every time I said Quentin Johnston and then Jackson Smith and Jigba, they're back to back in my rankings. So I think this could be worth the trade here. George Pickens still is going to be coming into his own this year, even though I do believe he can have a massive breakout. And Jamo, six game suspension. So I'm okay with this trade. I think it's Jackson Smith and Jigba for me, for sure, with that team. Another trade here from C12 team, Superflex, where you only have to start one running back, one wide receiver. Rest are flex. Okay, just seems like good value for me for a long term in Watson and Jamo. Not much left in the tank for Mike and Connor. So you get, I'm assuming this is the same team, because you get Jamo back, but then George Pickens. This could be a different league. So you get Jameson Williams, Christian Watson, Daniel Bellinger, Tyler Scott. Yeah, I like the trade. Mike Williams, James Conner, George Pickens. I think the upsides is in your favor here. I think it depends on your... Well, actually, if you can start anyone in the flex spot, if it's only just start one running back and one wide receiver, let me just see the value. Not much length to take. I think it depends on who your running backs are. If your running backs is like hypothetically Jonathan Taylor, that's great. If your number one wide receiver is hypothetically, I don't know, Devonta Smith, that's great. And then depending on how many flex spots you have, I think in the long term, you would want Jamo and Watson in this dynasty perspective. But if you're trying to win now, I think I would want Mike Williams, James Conner in that perspective. But I'm assuming this is a dynasty league. So I'm going to be taking the youth here. So I do like this trade for you. And last trade of the show here, Styles, 12-team Superflex PPR, tight end premium, 4-point passing touchdown. Want to secure some depth pieces, mainly with Carr to be my QB3. Roster now includes Fields, Tua, Carr as my quarterbacks, Swift, Mixon, Monty at running backs, Waddle, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy. Okay. Now, and Path of Dragon, which is pretty important. Feels like a strong enough core to compete for the next few years. So I'm betting on the picks I sent to be projected late. No first in 24, but 25 or 25 left, but still have 2 seconds in 25. Okay. So you receive Carr, Mostert, Higbee. You get a 25 second, 25 fourth, and you send away Mingo, 25 first, and a 25 third. So you just wanted to secure some depth pieces, mainly with Carr to be your QB3. I guess in this perspective, because I know you said you had Justin Fields and Tua, maybe you were really concerned that one of these guys are gonna miss some games. But I don't know if I would have traded my 25 first to acquire Derek Carr and Tyler Higbee in a tight end premium. I would have kept that first and maybe picked up the backups. I would have picked up Mike White now that's on the Dolphins. I'm not necessarily sure off the top of my head who's the backup for Justin Fields right now. Maybe it is Mitch Trubisky, but maybe I would have picked up Mitch Trubisky or somebody else. Mitch Trubisky technically on the Steelers, excuse me. I don't remember who's the backup on the Bears right now. You know what? I'll look it up as we're doing this. So the Bears depth chart here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm not necessarily sure if I would be trading my first to get Derek Carr, Tyler Higbee here. So the backup for Justin Fields is PJ Walker and Nathaniel Peterman. I would rather have kept my first and then picked up those guys instead of having, the depth. I mean, what are you going to do with Raheem Mostert, hypothetically, if Dalvin signs, or even a Leonard Fournette, or even Kareem Hunt? What does that value look like? Tyler Higbee, maybe you have some spike weeks with Tyler Higbee, but you do have Pat Freiermuth as your true tight end one. I'm not necessarily sure if I love this trade. I would have kept Jonathan Mingo with the depth, especially with Bryce Young there. I mean, you know me, Styles. You've been on the live stream. I love Jonathan Mingo. I would have seen significantly higher upside. I'm not necessarily sure if I love this trade. Let me just double check your running backs. Swift, Mixon, Monty are running backs. And I know you said you're betting on that pick to be a projected late. I'm still keeping that. I'm still keeping it. Even then, I'm keeping it and then going with the backups or buying an even lower price running a quarterback. Could you have acquired Aaron Rodgers, a Matthew Stafford on the low? Could you have acquired any one of those quarterbacks? I would have even went with a Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. Maybe I can pick up both of them on a lower price instead of giving away my first round pick. I understand you want to compete and just secure that because, if Tua does go down, you would rather have Derek Carr. But is that upside significantly high, a massive difference with Derek Carr versus someone like a Matthew Stafford, someone like an Aaron Rodgers that's probably really cheap? You get what I'm saying? That is the type of things I would have done here. I would have kept my first. So I'm not in love with this trade, just being completely honest with you. But if you feel comfortable, hey, do your thing. You got an extra second. You got a fourth as well. So hey, maybe Raheem Mostert, Raheem the Dream is a top 15 running back in the first couple half of the season. Derek Carr with Chris Olave, you never know. You never know. And Tyler Higbee technically was a top 8 tight end this past year. Top 8, top 10 tight end this past year. So, hey, maybe he can bring you some value in the tight end premium league. So, I completely understand maybe why you would have done it, but I would have kept my 25 first. So if you want your Dynasty trades graded on the next show, all you have to do is sign up at flockfantasy.com/land. Send us a screenshot. You get access to the Discord, and that's exactly it. You'll be featured on the next show coming up next week. But that's about it, guys. We appreciate each and every one of you that have submitted today. And as always, it's all love.
Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.